I don't like books like that. I only read books like 3 Cups of Tea, which are extraordinary in these books, because my agent made me right before, because everybody was going to be talking about things like 3 Cups of Tea when we went through this whole process. But I fought this subtitle with HarperCollins to no end, because to me it doesn't portray what the book is, and I mean, maybe it portrays it on a very superficial level, but it certainly doesn't speak to who I am. And the reason I don't like books like this is because when you read One Man's Promise to Bring Home the Lost Children of Nepal, it immediately kind of conjures up this image of somebody who is amazing and, way better than you, and so go ahead and read this book and sit on your couch, but you'll never achieve the heights of one man who made a promise. And I mean, it could, but not. And luckily, I think some of you have read it, otherwise I might have some problems convincing you. It could not be less true of me. I went to Nepal and worked in this little orphanage for the same reason that men do anything, which is to impress a girl. And I found myself in this, in Europe, and I was living there, and I saved up a lot of money, and I thought, I'm never going to get married, I'm never going to have kids. Neither one of those things worked out happily. But why don't I just spend all my money and go around the world? And I started telling as many people as I could about this, because I thought it sounded impressive. And I thought my friends were going to be like, oh my gosh, you're so amazing, why can't I be more like Conor? And they really didn't. They were really people who were saying, wow, really, you're going to travel around the world, but you're not going to volunteer? You're going to go to a lot of poor places. And I said, no, I'm not going to volunteer. Why would I want to slow myself down? And I really just wanted to kind of hit the beach and party and, do what any other person in their 20s wanted to do. And finally, I realized that to get people off my back, I should at least say that I'm going to volunteer, because then people shut up. And then I found myself in a bar, and I was speaking to this girl that I had this big crush on, and she was like, I was telling her, I'm going to travel around the world. Isn't that amazing? I'm leaving in like a week, so this is our last opportunity. And she wasn't impressed by that. And finally, I was like, I'm also going to go volunteer. And she's like, oh, you're going to go volunteer? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go volunteer. And she's like, oh, where? And I'm thinking, Nepal, because I don't know. And then she was like, oh, that's amazing. What are you going to do there? And I'm like, I don't even know where Nepal is. And I'm thinking, what do they have in Nepal? Do they have like baby seals? Do they, I don't know what they have, right? So I'm like, well, they must have orphanages in Nepal. So I was like, well, I'm going to go work in an orphanage. And she was like, oh my gosh, you're going to go work in an orphanage? And I was like, you're damn right, I'm going to go work in an orphanage. And so I realized that this was the single best pickup line that I've ever had in my life. And I started telling everybody now that I was going to volunteer in an orphanage in Nepal. Not understanding, of course, that then I would actually have to go and volunteer in an orphanage in Nepal, which I desperately didn't want to do. What I did want to do was go, here, this is Everest, is my